I'd like to welcome everybody to the January 10th First Falls City Council meeting. First thing we'll do is stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Chris, you have a roll call, please?
Bierstead,
Here.
York,
Here.
Carroll,
Here.
Downing,
Here.
Morset,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Odine.
Here.
Okay, next our approval of minutes from the December 13th meeting.
Move approval.
Second.
First and second, questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next, approval of the bills with Mr. Bjork.
I have to apologize, and we're going, I did not have a chance to fully review these. I had a couple questions and I didn't get a chance to ask, so I cannot move forward the approval of the bills at this time. So I don't know what we do in this case, but I'm not going to ask for approval when I didn't fully approve them or review them.
Table them, do we?
I don't think we better table.
It's up to the council. Somebody else can make a motion and you can vote to approve. The questions can be answered now, or we can attempt to,
Wanna ask
or
the questions
the
now?
council can
Or do you wanna-
determine that you
Well,
want.
yeah, I had I guess a couple questions. So the Tattersall one, I didn't know what that $5,000 was about. And then wondering, I know Mayor Dan, that you sent a letter and then as well informed the staff on thanking them for the good year that we had and with the bonus dollars, but I was wondering where those bonus dollars came from and where those were on the approval list. So those were really two of my things that I had.
Yeah, we can look at the Tattersall. I can answer. So salaries, anything related to the discretionary bonuses, that would have been charged to each of the budgets of the employee as per their typical allocation.
Okay.
So if it was to an employee that was charged 100% to the general fund, then it would be in that line in the general fund for 2022.
Okay. All right. Just going on that topic. How long have we been doing bonuses? I didn't know that we even did bonuses.
This year would have been, we've done some bonuses in the past, but they've been nominal in the dollar amount. So they've been $50 chamber gift cards
Okay.
or chamber checks, I guess. And we've done some bonuses to individual employees. They can be recommended by their department head and then it gets approved by me. So we've done bonuses probably, and those would be $250, $500, or $1,000 in most cases for the year. And that would be on their anniversary date. And we've probably done one-time bonuses like that for 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
Pay plan would have been put in place in 2012. And at the time that pay plan was approved by the council, that allowed some pay for performance, including one-time bonuses.
All right.
This is the first time I'm aware of that we've done employee-wide bonuses.
And do you know what the approximate total was?
Yeah, the approximate total would be about 125,000 based on 125 employees.
Okay, $1,000 each. Then.
Yeah, it was 500 for regular part-time employees, 20 hours plus, and then full-time it was $1,000.
Okay. All right. All right, and then the
The
Tattersall.
Tattersall, I'm fine with if the council will give me that time while you guys are moving through other items. I can look up that transaction, try to give you clarity, or somebody else will probably text me.
Well, then why Scott's doing that, I think we're, yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah. that's
Okay.
fine.
All right,
That's
super.
fine.
Thank you.
Everybody okay with that? No? Okay. Okay, let's move on to public comments. If there's anybody in the audience has anything like to say, now would be the time to step up. Just fill out your name, address on the sheet up there. Phone number, all that stuff.
My name is Dana Linscott. My address is 11395 County Road M, River Falls, Wisconsin. I've attempted to get on the agenda with my concerns about the homeless in River Falls, those in extreme poverty, and each time it's been summarily denied by Mr. Simpson. So I've been warned I may only have 2 minutes. I'm just going to read this off. You each have a copy in front of you because this may all sound like wah wah after a little while. It's pretty shocking.
Excuse me, Mr. Linscott, did you provide that to the clerk?
No, I'll give her my copy after I'm done.
Thank you.
The majority of unsheltered homeless people in River Falls are severely disabled. This is quite a bit higher than the national average, and it's shameful for the city to neglect those who are covered by the Americans with Disabilities Act to the point they must try to survive in sub-zero temperatures in tents or vehicles which they are unable to heat safely. This shame is compounded by the fact that the city of River Falls actively blocks the efforts of compassionate citizens attempting to provide safe heat to these severely disabled individuals. This blocking of others' efforts goes far beyond Mayor Toland's "we're not responsible for them" credo. It is unlawful criminalization of what they must do to survive. Originally, this criminalization was mostly limited to the enforcement of a non-existent no camping ordinance by the River Falls Police Department, but it's gone much further recently. In the past, harassment of homeless individuals was done mostly by individual members of River Falls Police Department inclined to enforce the city's unofficial move-on policy. On occasion, this harassing behavior involved unlawful behavior by some officers and their superiors. Over the past years, this type of behavior has become less common, and those responsible for that grossly inappropriate behavior are no longer employed by RFPD. This is a good thing. Unfortunately, the city has decided to focus on one homeless individual in the city. Mr. Killebrew lost his housing and began to live in his car during COVID. Somehow, his car was taken from him, along with most of his belongings and his medication. He was left on the streets of River Falls with almost nothing but what he could carry and encouraged to move elsewhere. Like several other homeless residents, River Falls Police Department offered to transport him to a nearby community, but he declined. Despite his wish to remain in River Falls, he was transported to another community against his will and left there without his belongings 3 times. Since all his remaining belongings were here in River Falls, he returned each time. At least once he walked the entire distance. He did not remain silent about this mistreatment. Realizing that the level of harassment RFPD was willing to provide was not going to coerce this individual to move on, the city administration decided to take direct action against him and initiated litigation claiming he had harassed the city of River Falls. I don't know how any individual can harass an entire city, but since he was severely disabled, homeless, and unsheltered, he was unrepresented by a lawyer. The city of River Falls prevailed and was granted an injunction which prohibits this severely disabled, homeless, and unsheltered individual from treading on property owned by the city. As a result, unlike every human on the planet, he cannot seek a temporary respite from cold weather in any public building. He cannot charge his phone or take out a book to read from the library. He cannot use the city's public bathrooms or simply sit in a warm place and have a quiet moment off the street. He is, in fact, the only person on this planet that is prohibited from doing that. I would not have learned of this had I not been attempting to provide emergency support to Mr. Killebrew, and neither would you. It isn't something the city administrator wants to be transparent about. In fact, he appears to have gone out of his way to avoid applying the city's transparency policy to this particular decision. I've had a pleasant, professional, and mutually respectful relationship with the only person in the city government assigned the task of assisting River Falls homeless population. This is Officer Axley. However, very shortly after I replaced Mr. Killebrew's vandalized and unusable tent and provided him with food, dry blankets, a sleeping pad, and warm clothing, Chief Young ordered Officer Axley to have no contact with me of any kind. Besides being a clear violation of the police department's own policy and the city of River Falls' commitment to transparency, this type of heavy-handed interference violates the city of River Falls' ethics ordinance. It's a serious, clear, and unambiguous bad faith action by the city mayor, administrator, and chief of police. This creates a huge legal liability for the taxpayers of River Falls, which appears was done without consulting the members of the Common Council. It gets worse. The individual the mayor and city administrator have focused their anti-homeless attention on is not only protected by the American with Disabilities Act, he's one of the few non-white homeless people left in River Falls. The city's discrimination based on disability and skin color is so thick it can be cut with a knife and is the complete opposite of its claimed goal of diversity, equity, and inclusion. If the Common Council has been left out of these decisions, it's also a major breach of the protocol that's required to maintain any democracy. As before, I encourage all of you to feel free to contact me, to not ignore this. It's not going to be ignorable forever. I'd like to solve it before it gets worse. I'd like to solve it before it costs the city anything. But without your interest, that's not going to happen. Please don't ignore this any longer. Thank you.
Anybody else in the audience have any comments? Okay. Did you have your answer, Scott, for the, go back to bills, or we can move on?
I do. I'm ready to answer
Okay.
on the bills.
Yep.
Yeah, that looks to be part of the design assistance award for energy efficiency that we do with new construction or remodels.
Okay, so we gave $5,000 to them because of this, as our award.
Yeah, it's
for-
part of our prescriptive awards on the design assistance. That's how it's labeled.
All right, very good. Thank you. Well, with that, I'll move to the approval of bills for $316,024.36 with the approval of the comptroller.
Second.
Any other questions or comments on the bills?
I had one public comment I wanted to make. Thank you.
Let's do
Oh, wait.
bills first.
Do bills.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments on the bills? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, go ahead.
One question for you, Mr. Simpson. Were there any homeless people in River Falls who requested aid during emergency cold?
I think we should maybe ask a point of order here. This is not an agendized topic, and I'm not sure
No.
it's appropriate in public comment. I'm sorry, Sean, but
Well, I'll just talk about my experience. I did go in and I asked Mr. Simpson about a week ago, and I was told that there was nobody who requested aid from the city then. That was my experience. So, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yep. Okay, we'll close the council hearing and open up a public hearing on ordinance 2023-01, repealing and recreating section 12.12.010. This is street excavations, and this is the first reading. Is there anybody in the audience that has anything like to say about this? No? I will close the public hearing and open up the council hearing, and if council has any questions about this.
Could we
Okay.
give a little better clarification what this all is? I've read through it and maybe it's just being Norwegian or something, but I don't fully understand it.
Okay.
Both items number 2 and 3.
Yeah,
Councilmember.
yeah, if you could, please.
Yeah, so this is a cleanup and modification or modernization, I guess you will, on the cable franchise ordinance and related utility instruction or installation. So this would be repeal and recreate those two. City Attorney Gerhardt did the lion's share of the work on this. And this is in large part due to the increasing interest in broadband internet installation throughout our right of ways. And so this helps, the cable franchise ordinance was kind of leveled. There's sections of that that aren't relevant based on the statewide franchise and changes in laws there. And so we're clarifying some of the things that we're allowed to charge installers, processes they have to follow if they want to cut in the right of way. And then what kind of repair and restoration we're expecting when they put it back. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
That's essentially it. The idea here is to give the city more control and more uniformity with respect to regulating its right of way because of the increase in utilities that want to utilize the right of way. The existing ordinance is about a paragraph long and just simply didn't have the mechanisms in place for permitting and bonding and restoration that it should have. So this is a modernization update of the existing right of way ordinance.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, thank you. Does it for me, Dan.
Anybody else have anything on that? Okay, we'll close the council hearing and open up a public hearing on ordinance 2022 or 2023-02, repealing and recreating Title 18 Cable Franchise Ordinance. Is there anybody in the audience has anything they want to ask about this? Okay, we'll close the public hearing and reopen the council hearing for questions. No? Okay, we'll move on to consent agenda. First thing on the consent agenda is a change of agent for Walgreens. The next one is a change of agent for Kwik Trip 453, store number 453. Next one is a resolution to accept public improvements for Sterling Pond, for Sterling 3rd and 4th editions. Does anybody want to pull anything?
I'd like to pull 4 and 5, please.
Yep. I'll take a motion.
I will move approval for consent agenda item number 6.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Morissette, 4
Uh,
and 5?
Mr. Mayor, if I could ask the agent for Walgreens to come to the podium, please. I'm asking my standard 3 questions, which I'm sure will shock everybody.
Well, it makes you feel good, though.
Thanks for coming up, Mr. Slate. Mr. Slate, do you understand the role of an agent?
Yes.
Do you understand that if alcohol-related violation occurs while you're not there, you're, as the agent, responsible?
Yes.
And have you passed your responsible server's certificate?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all I have for.
You want to do the next one and then vote on them together? Or
Sure.
Go ahead.
Mr. Rusink is already an agent, so I'll just ask him to reaffirm the 3 questions I just asked Mr. Slate, that he still understands his role as an agent. All
Yes.
the different questions. Thank you. That's all I need to hear.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we accept, that we accept the change of agents for Walgreens and for Kwik Trip Store 453.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next, move on to administrator's report. Scott's got anything to talk about? Let us know.
Yeah, I'll just remind the council that they've received a copy of our approach to homelessness in the community, and that I believe that our police department is extremely lawful in their individualized and compassionate approach, and there's too many inaccuracies in certain public comments to even begin to correct them.
Mhm.
Yep. Okay. Does anybody got anything for Scott? Any questions for Scott? Okay.
Dan, can I ask, in the future, could we put on the agenda or on the topic to talk about the landfill fees that we currently charge and discuss what we're going to do with those? I thought we got a great letter, information saying the fees are 63 cents a month right now for the resident and different for resident or for commercial and business and that. But when you read through it, I don't know why we're collecting it anymore, and I don't understand why we're saying it's a landfill fee when it has no purpose in that. We're using it for almost a slush fund. So I'd like to see if we could put that on the agenda to be talked about maybe next time.
Yeah, we can talk about that. And I
you.
think staff can put something together for you to send out to us.
So the council would like to have a report,
Yeah,
an agenda item on the report on the environmental fee fund.
or at least a report, and then we can, yeah, a report would be fine to start with, and then we can look at if we need to put it on the agenda.
And should I assume that you're okay just starting with the report that's already been submitted? We don't need to do additional,
That sounds
there
fine.
isn't additional work to be done?
Right.
At
If that's
this
the
point.
case, then we wouldn't have any problem presenting that at the next council meeting.
Okay. perfect.
Normally I'd want 2 council meetings to be prepared, but in this case, we've done the research and we're
Yeah.
prepared.
Yep. I'm good with that, Dean.
Okay.
If I may, this is kind of a public comment, but I was out of town for most of the snow over the last week, but I know how hard our public works people work to address weather events like that, and I just want to say that their work's appreciated.
Thank you. We'll pass that along.
You stole my comment. I received a lot of very complimentary comments about how the city removes snow and handles the situations. And it's not always perfect immediately, but everybody understands and is patient that over a 2-day period, it's going to be taken care of. So very much appreciative of our staff
Yeah.
doing those at all hours of the day and night.
And not just the snow removal, but the fixing of the power lines that went down with the heavy snow. So we have an outstanding utility department and outstanding public works department here in River Falls, and really something we should really be proud of.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.